the Florida Writer Podcast, a discussion about writing and other things.
Hello, and welcome to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. And today I am lucky enough to be with Victoria Dym. Victoria, could you give me a 60-second elevator pitch about who you are and what you write?
Wow, 60 seconds? I'm a poet. I'm a traditional poet, although I do stand sometimes on spoken word side when it's convenient. I'm also an improviser, and that is seen in my poems, some leaps of faith, so to say. As well, I am a certified laughter yoga leader for Cano Health, teaching laughter yoga. Which is basically just a technique to breathe and laugh on exhale. I have a daughter who is super smart and helps me with pagination. She lives in Pittsburgh, so I have to shout out to her because she's my reason.
Well, I have two sons and a stepdaughter and a stepson, and they are also my reason, along with my crazy Akbash dog that I sometimes talk about. But nonetheless, I also have an awesome husband. I should mention that, throw that out there, because if he ever listens, he'll want to know that too. But I understand that you run a retreat in Florida. Is that correct?
Well, that's true. Actually, we've been trying to run this retreat for 2 years because the pandemic got in the way, but that got in the way of a lot of things. But we are definitely doing this retreat. It's called the Metanoia Retreat for writers, well-being, and right whales. And that is being held in Fernandina Beach, Florida on Amelia Island. That's Earth Day weekend, April 22nd through the 24th. And as it says, you can enter it from 3 different portals, the writing portal, the well-being portal, or the right whales. I don't know if you know too much about right whales. They are very critically endangered. There's only 366 of them left. And they actually travel from Maine, Massachusetts, all the way down to Fernandina, the south of Georgia, and they have their babies there. And it's super interesting because it's the birthplace of these giants. They're 1,000 tons when they are birthed. So it's just a magical place, and we're going to reset the heart, so to speak. And we've got people coming from India, Pittsburgh, New York, South Carolina, of course, Florida.
Well, it sounds like something I need, because when I read that you're having this retreat, I'm like, and for well-being, well, today, that's what I'm feeling. I need to work on my writing and my well-being and, celebrate whales. So,
Alison, let me just tell you this. The submission process ended at the end of the year, but I would like to make a special offer, not only to you, but every listener of the Florida Writer Podcast, that if you want to submit, please feel comfortable to submit, and we'll give you a discounted rate, at the hotel, which is a very good rate. All you have to do is contact us here at metanoiaretreat@gmail.com. Mention the Florida Writer Podcast, and you will magically get a lot of discounts.
Well, that's really great. Okay. I have another question for you. Your resume also boasts that you attended the Ringling Brother Barnum and Bailey Clown College.
Well, that's easy for you to say. It's the Ringling Brothers Barnum and Bailey Clown College. Yes, I did that way back before the turn of the century. And it was a rigorous audition process and application process. I remember one of the questions was, when was the last time you cried and why? And I remember racing that every time I cried and trying to be as truthful as possible and get the right answer. But it was a wonderful experience. In fact, I'm hosting, along with my roommate from Clown College. Now, this is, I'm going to say 35 years ago. Hopefully nobody does the math. But we are hosting a clown college reunion for our class online in January 23rd. So you know who you are out there. If you want to jump on, just go to the class reunion page and get the Zoom link. But yeah, it's held us together all these years. I guess you go through something like that, and just like any trauma experience, although it was good trauma. I was the dog trainer in my class. So that was my signature feat. I had two toy dachshunds, Max and Oscar, that I trained to do tricks. We also probably were the only class that ever got paid for our last show, which was televised with Dick Van Dyke as the host. So I got to hug Dick Van Dyke.
That is quite a story. How has the different aspects of your life helped you with your poetry, with your writing?
Interesting question, because the first book that was published by Finishing Line Press in 2015 actually was poems from my experience at Clown College. It's entitled Class Clown, and you can get it from Finishing Line Press or on Amazon. So that was part of my thesis for my MFA, which I got at Carlow College, Carlow University now. And I think that all of our experiences are memories that are retained not only in the mind, but also in the body. And so when you start to recall your life, you start to make sense of all of these things that really basically reside, in your body, in your mind. So the second book that I wrote was When the Walls Cave In, also available from Finishing Line Press and on Amazon. Also available when I go to Fernandina Beach in February to be at the Author Expo at the Amelia Island Book Fair. So that one was basically about my divorce, which took 7 years to complete. So you have the really terrific, a positive, and then you have the, a traumatized, dark a book. But so, yeah, I mean, basically I have 4 manuscripts right now, 3 chapbooks and a full-length manuscript that are waiting for publication, and basically have come out of either prompted or my time here in Florida. I moved here in 2014, and it was like a whole new world, from Pittsburgh to Florida, or they say sometimes from Pittsburgh to paradise. Basically, all the different flora and fauna, all the different mindsets, beach life, which in Pittsburgh is pretty much nothing there to say about being. You drive 6 hours to get to a beach in Pittsburgh. That's about all you can say about beach life. But so yeah, I mean, everything basically influences me, so to speak.
And how does the improvisation that you learned along the way influence your writing? Does that help you come up with ways of pivoting when you're feeling stuck? I'm not going to use the word blocked, because I have been told by way too many writers that there's either no such thing as writer's block, or if you say writer's block, you are bound to jinx yourself. So we're just going to say when you have to take a pause because you are not feeling it. So how does improvisation play into that?
So the principle of improvisation is to say yes and. So and you only have 2 things to work with, and that's your scene partner and the floor. So there's not all this decoration. There's not all this scene, scene painting. You do that all basically in words. And so what happens is you're just basically, when you're writing, you have the page, a pen, and your mind. And I mean, your eyes, you have your senses. So I think you have much more when you're writing than you actually do with improv. So compromise and concision and word choice, all of that is part of it. So maybe improv is poetry of the theater, now that I'm thinking about it. And it's never the same twice. So in other words, unless it's recorded, you can go see an improv show many times over, but it always will be a little different. And as any writer knows, it's not really just the writing. It's the revision. It's picking out the right words. It's figuring out what the form is, what best way in which to convey the metaphor or the simile that you're striving to, the meaning that you're striving to project. So there's so much more thought and solitude in doing writing. And that's why I love improv, because it allows me to be free. It allows me to be spontaneous. It allows me to work with other people, which is one of the best things about improv. It's a community thing. Although I did my first solo show for the Countdown Improv Festival. Shout out to Justin and Kelly from New York, who basically helped me nurture a character into a solo improv show, which was pretty scary as well. But I think being by genre might be similar. I also started to go into storytelling and write down my stories, and I got one published. So there's all these offshoots of being basically a creative artist, which that's basically what I think I'm doing.
And creativity is so important, and we do not give it enough pause to consider. It's natural for a lot of writers to be, oh, I'm creative, but a lot of people start their writing journey much later in life, after they've had a variety of careers, and they start off with the idea, I'm not really that creative. I can't write like that. And then all of a sudden, they tap into that muse, which is wonderful. And I do love the expression, yes, and. When I have discussions with my students, I always advocate for the yes, and, because you can't just parrot back what somebody said. That does not add to the conversation. So to add to that conversation, you need to have that yes, and. And as writers, we can do that with our own scenes. Yes, and what happens next? Yes, and it's so valuable to just those two little words. I mean, really, it's 6 letters and a space.
And a comma.
And a comma. That's right. Let's not forget that comma. Always present. Proper uses is very important. So what's on your horizon?
Well, like you said, the Metanoia Retreat's coming up in April. And basically you tapped into that creativity. We will be playing creativity games. So that's hopefully going to spark folks being able to write, and also being able to write about this one small part of climate crisis, which I think that we are pushing to the side with all of the other issues that are at the forefront today. But I know that Cultural Daily is coming out, I believe in the spring, with a feature on me. So I don't know what poems that they are going to publish. I just had one poem published with Wild Ruth Journal here. And I was wondering, would you be amenable to me reading a poem?
Sure. I think that sounds like a great idea.
So this is the title poem for my full-length manuscript, yes, yet to be published. Anybody out there who's a publisher, please get in touch with either myself or the show. I'd be happy to send you my full-length manuscript. This is called The Hatchet Sun. How empty the lake with no water. Weeds, grass, and dried cattails. Where water once was. Where water hid fishes. Where water gave deer a drink. The lake lay bare, like a lover. The first glimpse unclothed. Where I am toppled by heat. Where I struggle for air. Where water once was. A lone vulture calls. I squint. Raspy, drawn out hissing sound. Where birds of prey convene. Where water once was. Where carcasses now grow. Grunting like hungry pigs on barking dogs in the distance. Where bones turn from pink to creamy yellow. Where water once was. And fishes and deer. Where the hatchet sun sets.
Well, thank you, Victoria, very much for that reading. How can people get in touch with you?
So they can go to my Facebook page, Victoria Dym. That's also my website. They can go to the Metanoia Retreat Facebook page. I also have a Facebook page for laughter yoga. But if you want to, the best way right now would be metanoiaretreat@gmail.com. I will take any and all comments, criticisms, help, applications, questions, or answers at that metanoiaretreat@gmail.com. I will say this. I've been involved with the International Women's Writers Guild. And in fact, right after we get off of this, I'm going to be attending an online free, what they call Free Write Friday. And that's a lot of inspiration that's happened during the pandemic to be able to just hop on free readings, free writing events. Sometimes I have paid for them, but mostly the free ones are great. And that keeps you going. That keeps your inspiration happening. So that's just a suggestion. And the International Women's Writers Guild is a fantastic organization. I am not a member, ashamedly, but I am considering it.
Well, thank you so much. Are you ready to switch to our rapid fire questions?
Yeah, sure. This is like improv for poets, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Probably less dramatic, but
I'll make it dramatic. Okay.
There we go. What was your first car?
Wow. My first car was a, what do you call those cars? Honda.
A Honda. All right. What is your favorite comfort food?
Macaroni and cheese.
Oh, a woman after my own heart. That is mine as well. Let me tell you, we've had to go gluten-free in this house, so I've figured out how to do it with gluten-free noodles. Let me tell you, it works.
I'll be over. I love it.
And what is your next bucket list item?
My next bucket list item is to get all of these manuscripts published. Like I said, I've got 3 chapbooks and a full-length manuscript. I am thinking about travel as soon as that allows. I really want to go to Hawaii. I went to Paris with my daughter when I turned 60, and I totally enjoyed that. And I love to travel. So yeah, travel.
I love traveling as well, and I wish you many fabulous trips up ahead. Thank you so much, Victoria Dym, for stopping by.
Thank you, Alison.
You have been listening to another edition of the Florida Writer Podcast with your host, Alison Nissen. Alison out. Woo! We're all done.
That was fun.
Victoria Dym is a graduate of Ringling Brothers, Barnum, and Bailey Clown College with a degree in humility, a Bachelor of Arts in philosophy, and a Master's of Fine Arts in creative writing poetry from Carlow University. Her 2 poetry chapbooks, Class Clown and When the Walls Cave In, were published by Finishing Line Press in 2015 and 2018. She lives in Tampa, Florida, where she teaches and hosts the Annual October Haiku Challenge, teaches poetry, storytelling, and facilitates laughter yoga workshops for Cano Health Wellness Center. Victoria is also the co-founder of the Metanoia Retreat for Writers, Wellbeing, and Bright Whales, to be held on Earth Day on Amelia Island. For more information about Victoria, visit metanoiaretreat@gmail.com. That's METANOIA retreat@gmail.com. For more information about the Florida Writers Association, visit us at floridawriters.org. Until next time.